What if the key to Africa's future was hidden in a man who studied our past? What if the blueprint for sovereignty, unity, and dignity was drawn decades ago by a voice we're only just beginning to hear? This is the story of Professor Cheikh Anta Diop, the man who proved Africa to itself. Professor Cheikh Anta Diop was born in 1923 in Senegal. From a young age, he was a seeker of knowledge. He studied physics and chemistry at the Sorbonne in Paris, but he wasn't content to remain in a Western framework. He turned to history, linguistics, anthropology, and philosophy. And what he found would shake the foundation of Eurocentric history. As he once declared, only a loyal, determined struggle to destroy cultural aggression and bring out the truth, whatever it may be, is revolutionary. For centuries, Africans were told they had no history, that civilization began elsewhere, that the pyramids, hieroglyphs, and libraries of the Nile could not have been African. Professor Cheikh Anta Diop proved them wrong. Through carbon dating, linguistics, and comparative cultural analysis, he showed that ancient Egypt was not only African in location, but African in blood, language, and culture. In his own words, the history of Black Africa will remain suspended in air and cannot be written correctly until African historians dare to connect it with the history of Egypt. Professor Cheikh Anta Diop didn't just speak, he documented. Among his most important works, Nations Negres et Culture, The African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality, Civilization or Barbarism, An Authentic Anthropology, Black Africa, The Economic and Cultural Basis for a Federated State. Each book is a weapon against ignorance, a blueprint for restoration, a call to return home, intellectually, culturally, economically. Cheikh Anta Diop did not dwell in the past. His vision was fiercely modern. He called for an Africa that builds its own industries, controls its own resources, educates its people, and speaks its own languages. As Diop asserted, without a centralized economy and industrial base, no African state can be truly independent. On the manufactured divisions of African identity, he reminded us, there is no such thing as a tribe in Africa. The concept was invented by colonial ethnographers to divide and weaken African societies. And on the urgent need for solidarity, the unity of African peoples is a historical fact. It is the condition of our survival. Professor Cheikh Anta Diop matters today more than ever, because Africa is still haunted by the same ghosts: tribalism, economic dependency, lack of infrastructure, and loss of memory. But Diop's work shows that we can fight these ghosts with knowledge, unity, and courage. As he cautioned, cultural domination always precedes economic and political domination. To reclaim our future, we must reclaim our story. We must believe that we can build, we can unite, we can rise. If we love ourselves, if we love each other, if we trust that we are enough. Professor Cheikh Anta Diop didn't just reclaim the past, he reignited the future. Africa does not lack potential. It lacks memory. It lacks unity. It cruelly lacks industrialization, infrastructure, hospitals, schools, and research centers. But Diop gave us something deeper: the tools to remember and the vision to rebuild, rooted in truth, rising in power. This is the baobab within.